Firstly, guys, what this is travel device considerations for, when we travel for EP, when we travel for advance, that kind of thing. And for instance, my trip to China coming up, going to be on advance for the first 3 days, and then working EP for the next almost 2 weeks. So why do I bring a travel device with me to China? One, because almost all of my clients do when they travel to China. So I want to make sure I have the same level of considerations for data privacy and everything else that they do. And then also because if anybody wants to track what I'm doing and they could see what I'm doing and where I am and everything else, that's great information if I'm on advance, right? Because now they have the exact itinerary of what, I'm going to be doing with the principal soon or what have you. So I just like to make sure that we're extra careful on these things. And so what we do is we issue and deissue travel devices. And I talked through this a little bit with the class that I was just teaching, and they had a lot of questions and they were very interested in it. And it just kind of made me think, yeah, maybe it would be a good webinar. So what we do is we set them up with systems so that way they can remote in safely and effectively. Mostly what we use there is an app called AnyDesk, AnyDesk, AnyDesk. And AnyDesk allows you to remote in from another device to say, like this computer here in my office from anywhere in the world. And what's great about it is the enhanced security that is built into it, both by design and then also by control. So by design, there is no data in transit and there's no data at rest, unless you're actually doing file transfers, which I don't recommend you doing. I actually have that setting off, so that is not allowed. So you cannot transmit data. So all that's actually happening is the app takes a screen recording, encrypts it, and sends it to the device that you're on. So then it's encrypted in transit and it gets to the device that you're on. It's decrypted and then you're looking at an image only. So there's no actual data. Again, there's no data in transfer, and that means that there's no data at rest on the device that's in your hands. So even if somebody gets hands on that device, they don't have any data. Okay. So no data in transit, no data at rest, all encrypted. And then the controls that you can build into it. So say for instance, my travel device, if I want to AnyDesk into my computer here, firstly, I have to password into my phone, right? So I have to get into the phone somehow. I'm saying if somebody picks up my phone or steals it or whatever, how can they get to my actual stuff? Because there's nothing on that phone. There's nothing on that phone except for some apps for daily use. There's a VPN. There's uh, AnyDesk, obviously. And then there's other apps that are linked to a fake account that I created. And when I say a fake account, it's just another. I use Gmail, so I just use another Gmail account. That's just another separate email that nobody has, nobody uses. It's just blank email, just so I can register accounts to it on that phone. So say somebody picks up that device, they have to password into the phone, and then when they open the AnyDesk app and try to connect to a computer, they have to use a specific password for that. And then when it wakes up my MacBook, they have to know the code to wake up my MacBook. So there's three separate, and they're all different codes or passwords in order to get into my device through AnyDesk. Further, you might say, well, someone can see you type in the password on your phone. Yes, 100%. Somebody can watch that and then get on AnyDesk and try to mimic that. Cool thing with AnyDesk is you could actually set the individual uh, accounts for rather the not accounts device identities that are allowed to connect. So for instance, you can set only your travel device to connect to your computer at home. So now if they don't have your device, they can't connect. So even if they see you on camera or they watch you type in a password and they see you using AnyDesk and they can see the IP you're connecting to, they can try to replicate that, but they cannot. So that's the interesting part of it. And here I just had one more registration. Let me just send them the information. So that's the interesting part of it. You can put in so many controls that it's pretty awesome. So it's a very good app for security, very good app for convenience because it's easy to use. And that's kind of the big thing that I like is it's easy to use. Okay, so you guys can give that a shot. All All right, let me send this real quick. Boom. All right. So that's how we set it up. And now the actual device itself, let's talk about that. So the actual device itself, we use Google Pixels for the most part. Google Pixels are Android-based devices. You can get a very good one with under the very like cheap, rather inexpensive model. So it's usually the A. So for instance, I just bought one last week. I got a Google 9A for 500 bucks, brand new out of the box from the factory. I mean, 500 bucks for a brand new, it's not the Edge device because it's not the 10, it's not the brand new one, but it's the previous model. So this would be like buying an iPhone 15 essentially. So I get, essentially the iPhone 15 and the Android version for 500 bucks. Because you don't need a lot of storage. I'll explain why. You don't need a lot of pretty much anything. And all that's for is to operate AnyDesk to control your devices at home and maybe a camera because when you're traveling, you take pictures of stuff, send it in the WhatsApp chat for your advance and yada, yada, yada. So you need the camera, you need AnyDesk, and you need, a couple of apps, WhatsApp and a few other apps to make it easy to communicate. All right. So we use Google Pixels also because you can then download and install the Graphene operating system. And Graphene operating system does several things. And first off, let me explain. You have to have a Google Pixel. It has to be running Android, I believe, 13 or later, which you should be running Android 16. Um, you have to have the device completely unlocked. So you cannot go through the process unless the device is completely unlocked. So it can't be locked into any carrier or anything else. So make sure when you buy a phone or if you have a phone, it's completely unlocked. Otherwise, it doesn't work. But all you do is you go to the website. I'll even show you here, guys. You go to the website. It's called Graphene. And here you can read all about it. You can read about the features. There's tons of information about it. Okay, you can read and you can watch YouTube videos on it. You can learn all about it. I'll tell you some things that I like. And then you go to install, and they have a web USB based installer. It literally can't be easier. It's so streamlined and easy. So you go to here and you start here. You start by enabling OEM unlocking. You flash it, you copy it, and then you install it. It's so easy. You just follow these prompts and click these things. You just read through this and follow the instructions and verify the installation. It's that easy, and it'll be loaded on your phone. Okay. So if you want to load in Graphene, all you do is connect via USB, the phone to the computer that you're on, and you follow these prompts and click through these things. It's very, very simple. It's very simple. I promise you. So Graphene, what's good about it? It's a privacy-focused operating system. So it completely removes, I would say, 90% of the stuff that tracks you, that monitors what you say, listens to you, all of that, because it doesn't really do any of that. Some things are built in that you have to have location awareness because in what we do, you're going to be using, things like Google Maps, you're going to be using certain things. So it is what it is. But if you use Graphene, there's a lot of benefits because of that, because it removes all of that stuff. So for instance, when I purchased the phone, I purchased a brand new Google 9A Pixel, and it had something, I don't know, I want to say 28, around 30 gigabytes taken up. So it was a 128 gigabyte device, and it has less than 100 gigabytes available. Okay, so that means that the operating system and the apps that it came with was about 30 gigabytes. Okay. I, then and went immediately to install Graphene. So it flashes it and it installs Graphene on it. And it had about 3 gigabytes taken up. So I had almost 124. I had over 124 gigabytes. So I had just over 3 gigabytes of uh, operating system and apps. That's crazy. So think about that, for instance. It's using so much less of your data and then what comes from that is about a 30% extension on your battery life. So when I had the phone originally, you look at it on Androids, it tells you how long in that condition your phone will stay on. And it said like 1 day, how many hours. So flash it and install Graphene. And with a fully loaded battery, it says it lasts 2.5 days. Now, So why is because it doesn't have all of these systems tracking you, listening to you, sharing your information, everything you say and do with that phone, all your telemetrics, all your location data, all of that is not being sent everywhere. So all of that extra work isn't being done. So those are some benefits of Graphene is the increased privacy, incredible privacy that's offered by Graphene operating system. You get a lot more data available to you and you get a lot more battery life because your phone isn't spying on you constantly. So it's pretty cool. Of course, that comes with downsides. So the downsides are not all apps work and some apps don't work as well. So it's just, of course, there's going to be a trade-off. Nothing's perfect. So that depends on how you're going to use the device, and that's why I don't recommend you use Graphene on your day-to-day device. Only use Graphene on a device like an old one that you're going to use as a travel device or something else, and we use them to issue them out. Another couple of benefits why we like the Graphene operating system. One is you can sandbox apps individually. So you put them in the sandbox, they can only play with themselves. They can't play with others. That's what that means. It doesn't have access to anything else. So for instance, the way this works is like say you download let me just use the example, not that you would do this in your travel device, but let's say you download a game like one of those, running games like the Minions or Subway Surfer or something like that. You download a silly game like that you want to play on an airplane. On a normal device, on a normal Google phone, Pixel, whatever, iPhone, whatever, that device has access to your network. It has access to the telemetrics. It has access to all kinds of things in your phone, and it shares that information and sells that information. Okay. If you download an app on Graphene, you can sandbox it, which means it can't do any of that. It does not have access to your location. It doesn't have access to your network, to your data, to your pictures, to your microphone, to your location, anything. It completely shuts it down so that when that app runs, it only runs native. That's it. It doesn't run off your phone at all. So, or connected to anything else in your phone at all. So that's a cool feature. Again, for enhanced privacy and everything else. And possibly one of the best things about Graphene is you can set up different profiles. So I'll show you on mine here shortly. You can set up different profiles. So you can have one profile that is completely isolated from others. It's like creating multiple phones. It's pretty cool. So you create one profile, all of the apps that you download, all the pictures that you take, all the music, whatever you put on there is all on that one profile. And then you create another profile. And it's like creating a new phone. When you open up that profile, it's like a brand new phone. It even starts from the screen that's like a brand new phone. And you have to download all the apps again that you want. You have to log in with all your information again. It's like a brand new phone. It still has the same IMEI, still has the same phone number, all of that. You can either shut off access to the new profile to your phone number, to the SIM, or not. So if you want to shut it off, it'll be like a brand new phone just with the same IMEI. And so what's cool about that is, let's say I'm issuing that to one of my guys for travel. I can create a new profile. I can hand him the phone. He can download whatever apps he wants. He can log in under whatever account information he wants, use the phone for that trip, come back, and I can just simply delete that profile and all his stuff's gone. Okay. So now I have no access to it whatsoever. Whatever he did is gone. And that's how you can do it. So it's like isolating separate phones. It's really cool. And it's super easy. I don't have to restart the whole phone. I don't have to, do all of that. Additionally, you could have several profiles. So if you're working for different clients, you could have different apps logged into different accounts. There's a lot of ways you can get creative with the profiles. If you wanted to be super sneaky, you can create a new profile, put some blank stuff on there so it looks like a normal phone, and run it like that. So you type in that code and it opens up that profile, and it looks like a certain way. And then if you want, you could switch profiles. You type in the code to the other profile, unlock the phone that way. And now you have all of your, working documents and apps and photos and date, all your data. And then again, if you're going to put your phone down for a minute, you can log into the other profile, lock your phone, put it down. And if anyone picks it up, and even if they know your code, all they're getting is that one profile, which is completely segmented from the other. So there's several different ways that you could use the profiles. So that being said, the Graphene operating system is ideal for privacy, security, and for a travel device. I don't necessarily recommend it for your personal everyday device, okay? So I'll show you what it looks like, and if you guys have any questions from there, you can ask. Let me switch to my other camera here. Hang on. All right, let's see how this works. All right, sorry, you're gonna see up my nose. All right, so here I unlock the phone, and here, guys, um, this is the one working profile that I have. So it's got all these apps put into it, which, I use for work. So I'm going to China, so I unfortunately have to use WeChat. I've got WhatsApp. I've got all kinds of stuff for other security reasons. A weather app just because, and all kinds of things. Okay. And one main thing is the AnyDesk app. Alfred Camera, Microsoft Defender, Discord, all the apps that I use for work, I have it set up this way. And you'll see, like say for instance, just for demonstration, I took a picture here in my kitchen when I was setting up the phone, just so I could see I have a picture in here, just the one solo photo. Okay. And now let's say I want to switch profiles, which I just made a new one for fun, which was Bravo 6. So now I go into this. It is now a separate, different code. So I type in the code of that, and now the phone opens up and it looks like this. And it's completely different, and it looks like a brand new phone that I haven't opened yet. This is what Graphene operating system looks like when it's a brand new phone. And you'll notice, say for instance, if I go to the gallery, there are no photos because it doesn't have access to them. Okay. So one second, my camera just locked up on me. All right, sorry, I was getting a call, I think. Okay, so here you'll see that there's no photos at all. If I go to that, if I go to anything on here, none of the data from the other profile is on this one. So if you get this, you get nothing. And then if I switch profiles back to the other one, which I called guest just to kind of throw it off, right? Now I can open that one up. And then here I'm back to running this phone with all the other apps that I have and with all of the different logins. You can even have the same apps on both profiles with different logins, which is pretty cool. And a cool thing is Pixel has multi-SIM capability. So you could run essentially two separate phones by just simply clicking in with different codes. It's pretty awesome. So let me just mute everybody real quick. Just getting some background. So this is pretty cool because now I could essentially run up to four different phones with two different numbers right here in my hand. And if I wanted to, I just can simply delete one of those, one of those profiles. So if I had four profiles here, they call them users rather, I could just simply delete one when I'm done, or I can click into it, open it up, and it's a different code than the other one. And now I'm into this profile, which again, completely separate data, everything, and even a different SIM if I wanted it to be. So it's a super easy and privacy focused operating system that comes with all these very privacy focused apps. That's why they're black and white, just so you know which ones are which. And so these apps that it comes with, like it's based on Chrome, but it doesn't track you at all. All of these things, they don't track you at all. One thing to be careful of when you're using Graphene is when you delete something, it is gone. So there isn't any deleted items folder. There isn't any way to recover it. So it's a pro con. If you're not used to something like that, you just got to be careful with it. If you delete anything, it's gone and there's no way to recover it. So that's one thing to be careful of. So this super simple to create different users with different passcodes, and that way you can issue and deissue phones easily, or you could just enhance your privacy and overall security controls by having different users at each level with different apps. Okay, so pretty cool system there. So that's just a demonstration of Graphene. And that's what we're using. Now there if you're at a let's say you have a higher budget and you can kind of do whatever you want, get with me offline. I'm working with a company for some of my top clients that we get phones that can do unbelievable stuff as far as privacy and security. The company that I'm working with, these guys are fantastic. That's what they specialize in. It's expensive, so it's about 4 to 5 thousand per phone per year. Okay. So it's about 5,000 to start and then about 4,000 every year between the licensing for the operating system and their service. But their service and their phones are completely unattributable to you. And you can do really fancy stuff. You could roll SIMs, you could do all kinds of things. It's incredible what they can do. So I have two of those, but for most use cases, a $500 phone with a free operating system called Graphene really is a big jump and a big step in the right way. And then, guys, utilizing AnyDesk when you're traveling, you're using your actual devices back home. And here's a pro tip if you're an iPhone user, Apple ecosystem user, say you can leave your iPhone near your Mac at home, and now you can control both. You can control your Mac and your iPhone via AnyDesking into your Mac. And so that's what I'm doing when I'm in China. And last time I came back to zero notifications, and anything you have no problem doing anything because you're using your actual MacBook at home and your iPhone at home, so you don't have to worry about the current location of the device blocking you. You don't have to worry about VPNs. You don't have to worry about any of that because you're manipulating your actual devices, which are back home, and they're safe. And you're using the actual devices. So when you click your apps and log in and go use your phone, it's like it's in your hand, but you're just virtually controlling it. So, no loss there. Just a little bit of friction in learning because the user interface, naturally, you're clicking on a computer and you're controlling your iPhone. But that's that's what I've got, guys, is quick demonstration on how we set up phones for travel security. So if you either just joined us or you missed us, I recorded this. I'll get it out there to you guys. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'll stop recording and we'll get through some questions if you want any specifics. But thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in.